All right, everyone, welcome. It's 2 o'clock, so we're going to get started. Thanks for joining us for our chai or coffee or whatever is keeping you awake these days. Our fun live stream with me and my buddy Sam here. And Sam, and your family, do they typically call you Samuel or Sam?
It depends on what side of my family you're talking about. One side of my
Okay.
family, calls me Samuelito. The other side calls me Sam. So it's kind of a mix. Yeah.
Oh, Samuelito, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew you were
It's
gonna
a
like
cute
that
name.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, in my Spanish class in school, my name was Roberto.
Ah,
So
nice, nice.
yeah, I had a fun nickname as well. So, hey guys, I'm Rob with Chai and Coaching. We're trying to do a lot of fun live Q&As to help you guys who are current students here in America or planning to come. Sam here, him and his friends are actual current international students as well. And Sam, I'll let you just go ahead and introduce yourself before we get this party started.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my name is Sam. I'm an international student from Colombia, and me plus two other international students from Brazil, we started this company called Steven Mentor, with the sole focus of helping international students in the United States. So what we do is we take the main challenges along the journey of international students, so adaptation, finding jobs, and we develop the technological, digital solutions for those challenges. And we've been working on this company for it's gonna be a year, in like a few months. So yeah, just trying to do something for the international students community, and it's been fun. It's been fun, challenging but fun.
Yeah, and when did you guys start?
So
Stephen Mentor.
the idea came to be, as in like the first, okay, let's do something for international students, came to be, I would say, the very beginning of 2019.
Mhm.
But the actual action that we like actually planning and getting stuff together, I would say, was around the spring of 2019. And we actually launched in the fall, and we incorporated the company in October. So there's different milestones there. You can say, okay, the
Yeah.
company is 1 year old, 6 months old. It depends on how you analyze it. But yeah.
Yeah, and so this is so new,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
awesome. I've loved, I've even just this past year kind of seen you guys. You were doing your beta tests and content and
Yep.
things, and then you got the website. Then you had your first cohort or group of people that you guys are mentoring through,
Hmm.
and yeah, you guys are rocking and rolling. I'm proud of you guys. So this is
Thank you so
awesome.
much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I remember from the very beginning, we reached out to you getting some feedback, asking for some feedback on the first batch of content that we made, and you
Hmm.
gave us very valuable feedback. So, like, we've known you for the very beginning, and it's been cool to
Yeah.
see all the content that you've been putting out as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's fun. Yeah, I mean, I feel like anyone in this space, we're all in the same team trying to help people in their cross-cultural journeys, here in America or anywhere in the world. And
Absolutely.
so, Sam, you're from Colombia, but you grew up some in Brazil, and your other coworkers are also Brazilian, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I grew up in Brazil, and my co-founders, they are originally from Brazil.
Awesome. So, what's maybe something unique about Colombia or Brazil and being an international student from there that people should know about?
Let me see. I think culturally, people from Colombia, Brazil are like extremely social.
Hmm.
We are, I don't know, we thrive when we are around people. We thrive in parties, we thrive in social settings, we thrive in those kind of scenarios. So I
Hmm.
think that's a pretty important trait from Latin America's international students. Of course, there are cases and cases, but I would say
Hmm.
generalizing, that's kind of an important trait of South Americans, being outgoing overall.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, in the comment sections, you guys on YouTube or Instagram, first of all, let us know if you guys are having any coffee or tea. Give us a comment or give us a like if the sound is all clear. If you guys are also enjoying some coffee or tea. What do people drink in Brazil and Colombia?
Coffee is
It's coffee world, right?
yeah, coffee. And I mean Colombian coffee and even
Hmm.
Brazilian coffee, but Colombian coffee is just legendary. You
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah. I've had some good stuff from there.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Coffee is
awesome.
amazing.
So one of my goals to this video is to help you guys get to know Sam and Stephen Mentor, but we also want to help answer your guys' questions. So if you guys want to go ahead and start in the comments or in the Q&A section, go ahead and start typing your questions, and we're going to be addressing those as you get through. If you're a current student, if you have any questions, or if you're a prospective incoming student, have any questions in the Q&A or in the chat, go ahead and start throwing some questions our way. We want to help you guys out. But go ahead, Sam, go ahead and tell real quick about your great, what do you call it? kind of project you guys launched recently to
Yeah.
help international students, so people can know about that.
Yeah. I think while the guys start getting ready their questions, I just want to reinforce the point that you made, that the whole purpose of the Q&A is to ask you guys is to answer your questions. So feel free to shoot us some questions. We're here to help. So use the resource and also help the live stream be more engaging. But to that, briefly, I wanted to talk about the initiative that we started a few weeks ago. I would say 2 weeks ago. Amidst this whole crisis and with all the craziness that's going on, a lot of international students who stayed in the United States started to go through a lot of challenges. So financial challenges, housing challenges, loneliness, and all of the issues that come with being by yourself in a different country in the middle of a pandemic, thousands of miles away from your family. So we created this initiative called Adopt an International Student, where we basically are trying to match international students who stayed in the US with people in the United States who might be able to help them. And basically we try to connect those two people so that some help can happen. And so far we have had over 100 international students signing up for help. And we've had a decent amount of helpers signing up to actually offer the help.
Awesome. And what's probably the biggest need that the students have had, in those request forms?
I would say one of the biggest ones is financial support. A lot of international students sign up requesting financial support, saying, and this is an actual complicated situation because a lot of international students they rely heavily in on-campus employment. So if campus is closed, then it's hard for international students to work. So a lot of them were asking for financial support and also job searching help. So a lot of international students were struggling with finding jobs.
Okay. They asked, what's your website link, or what's the name of your website?
StevenMentor.com.
Just StevenMentor.com.
Yeah.
STEVEN. I'll put a link in the YouTube video description when we're done here. Perfect. For the website and the Adopt an International Student. But you guys can just search StevenMentor.com as well. And these guys will help you guys out, or just as what it is for his icon profile.
Yeah.
So on Instagram.
Steven Mentor. Just remember that it's Steven with V and not with PH.
Exactly. All right. So someone said they have lots of questions. Go ahead, and if you guys want to type your questions, or there's a Q&A section also on Instagram. You guys can type those. Right now, I can't check my inbox, sorry. But you can go ahead and type them here. I'm in the middle of the live video, but if you want to go ahead and type your questions or some highlights or themes, I'd be happy to answer those right now while we're live. Sam, you're at a college in Iowa, right?
Yes.
You want to tell them where you're studying at and where you're studying at and what you're studying?
Yeah, so I'm majoring in computer science, as the vast majority of us international students major in computer science, and also I major in computer science, but I'm in Iowa, Sioux City, Iowa, a small town. I would say about 80,000 people in the middle of Iowa, and I think that's also kind of an interesting perspective, because a lot of, I would say, incoming international students, and we deal with this a lot, look at the United States and think of the United States as Miami, New York, San Francisco, and all the big places. But then when they end up in a fairly remote place like Sioux City, Iowa, it's kind of a very big cultural shock. So how do you adapt to the conservative culture of the Midwest? That's kind of a I don't know, an interesting thing to go through, as an international.
Yeah. And most people, when they come to America, don't realize how diverse the culture is even within America.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely generic Western American culture, but Texas is very different than Boston versus Seattle versus LA versus Chicago or Iowa. And so you're going to find little cultural pockets all over the US. And so the Midwest is very unique. But good people. Good people.
But it's just small towns and many international students coming from big cities. So I think a great example is Bogota. Bogota, the capital of Colombia. I was living in Bogota before I came to the US. And my whole life I lived in big cities, right? And I would say the smallest city that I lived in had almost 1 million people, and I would consider that being a small city. So Bogota had 7 million people, the city that I lived in before coming to the US. Imagine going from the transition of living in a city with 7 million people to like 80,000, it's a challenge. It's a big challenge.
Yeah. All right. So Gourav's got a question. He said, I've got my EAD card from the OPT and it starts from 5th of July. can I go to India and return even if I don't have a job offer? Are you familiar with the EAD or OPT stuff?
I am fairly familiar with OPT. But yeah, if you want to go first, or I can go first on my knowledge
Yeah,
there.
what's your thoughts first?
So my thoughts on the whole process of waiting for OPT is mostly now. Actually, now I wouldn't recommend traveling whatsoever. And that just hands down the situation that's going on right now in the world. If you leave the United States now, whether or not you're waiting on OPT or whether or not you have a job or whatever, if you leave, there's a chance of not being able to come back. Not necessarily because of the paperwork, but mostly because of the whole issue with the borders. But when it comes to
Mhm.
OPT, as far as we know, as long as you have your OPT in hand, the chances of being banned in reentry are very, very low. It can still happen, yes, if you don't have a job, yes. But as
Mhm.
long as you have your OPT, like you actually have it, then I would say you should be able to go. Just don't leave
Yeah,
without having your OPT. If you leave without having your OPT, then that's complicated.
totally. Yeah, I mean, everything's questionable. A lot of international travel bans are in place. So you're going to be stuck for a while. That's kind of what we talked about in our conversation just on Sunday night. And so that's probably the bigger risk. They may in the future give some flexibility with documents, but I would say if you really want to be able to be here and work, you want to stay here for the meantime. Leaving is going to make it harder to come back to work and do those things, especially with the virus and how long it takes for that to stop. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he'll graduate on 6 May. He's in New York. Um, so yeah, if you're thinking of going after graduation, if you don't have a job offer, you should probably, I mean, I don't know, it's so tricky with all these visa document stuff, and the coronavirus makes it even more complicated. So there's a chance you could get in, but we don't know, and we don't want to promise anything
And do you
because
want to risk it? I think that's kind of the
yeah.
thing. Do you want to even go through the risk? I would say things being
Mhm.
normal, coronavirus not being a thing, the pandemic not being
Mhm.
a thing, I would say, yeah, sure, go be with your family for a while and then come back
Mhm.
for the whole year or the 3 years if you get a STEM extension. But things being the way they are, I would say it's more likely than not for you not to be able to come back. So I would say don't
Mhm.
risk it, unless it's like urgent, you need to go back home. But yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
hands
don't even
down,
know if
wait for your OPT card. Don't leave without your OPT.
yes, definitely. All right, we got one question here on Instagram. Hi, Rob. I've been offered to study PhD in molecular and cell biology starting this fall. Congratulations. Smart stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be very helpful if you could introduce me to someone from the department to guide me. Well, I don't know anyone in that department. I don't work for a college. What I always say when people ask to introduce, come on my LinkedIn. I have a huge connection network on LinkedIn, or connect with Sam, and you can just search. LinkedIn is so powerful, and you can find someone with molecular biology or who's studying those kind of things. And you can easily find someone at your college that you want to find. Just go on my LinkedIn, search the college, search the field of study, and you'll find lots of people. Maybe later I'll try and find someone specific, but that's always the best thing if you want to connect to someone with a certain major. Um,
I
Another
think
question. Oh, go ahead.
can I just bounce something off that?
Yeah.
I think many international students heavily, and I wouldn't even say international students, I would just say college students in general, but specifically the group of international students, I think most of us heavily underestimate the power of LinkedIn. Like heavily, heavily, heavily. Like LinkedIn is such an amazingly powerful tool for professional development and professional connections. You, as an
Hmm.
international student, you need to be on LinkedIn. You need to have a very strong presence on LinkedIn, and you need to be using LinkedIn in a smart way. It's not just like
Hmm.
being on LinkedIn, like knowing exactly how to manipulate. And I mean, we can go off, or at least I can go off talking all about, and I'm sure Rob can as well, talk about some hacks
Hmm.
and tips on LinkedIn. But if you guys have any questions on that, feel free to ask as well.
Yeah. So Samrudi said, can you talk about job search? I'm guessing you're talking about, right now or in the near future for America, for people who need summer CPT jobs or, post-graduation OPT jobs. Sam, what do you think the job search situation is like right now in the
Uh,
near future?
I mean, we talked about this last time in the live stream we did on Sunday, and I think you said it all. Right now, finding jobs just by general application is going to be extremely challenging.
Hmm.
The job search is going to be extremely challenging right now. Uh, we would recommend just go back to your network, look in your network, see if there are any opportunities popping up in your network.
Hmm.
You're way more like where more it's way more likely for you to be able to find a good opportunity within your network than just finding a job posting online.
Yeah,
Now,
totally.
if you don't have a direct connection with the opportunity, it's going to be extremely challenging to find a solid opportunity. Actually, and just kind of a random advice. I was scrolling to Twitter, and I mean, majoring in computer science, being in tech, I follow everybody from Silicon Valley. So I follow this girl. She's a software developer at one of the big companies, and she just posted a picture of a book called Job Hunting in 2009. And 2009 was like the comeback of the recession and
Hmm.
the financial crisis of 2008. And I think that's very applicable for today. So if you guys want to
Yeah.
go ahead and get that book as well, big insights. And I mean, we're gonna go through a similar period. You know, we're gonna go through a similar
Hmm.
phase where we're gonna be looking for jobs in a recession. So brace
Yeah.
yourselves. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, I am seeing job postings on LinkedIn. I am seeing companies are hiring. I've seen a lot of people posting like there's whole live updated lists about which companies are hiring, which are frozen, and so you can easily Google those or find those on LinkedIn to see which companies are going to have to pivot. Maybe the company or industry you wanted to work in maybe isn't that available right now, but some companies are struggling, but some businesses are booming right now to meet those needs of what's going on with the coronavirus. A lot of tech stuff, a lot of the important essential retail stuff. So some companies are booming economically and need a lot of hiring, and so you just have to maybe rethink, pivot, be flexible. And like, yeah, Sam said, it's going to come from your network. If you don't know Americans, if you don't have professional relationships in America, you're going to really struggle, because applying online is already the worst way to get a job, and it's going to be almost impossible to get a job now applying online, because all the competition, all the layoffs that are happening are going to happen, and with all the hiring freezing. So applying online is basically not going to get you a job.
Yep.
It's going to
Yep.
come from your relationships, and if you haven't done the hard work of building relationships, I'm sorry, but it's going to be hard, and you're learning the lesson the hard way. And I think one thing we mentioned before too is coming to America, there's always a risk of not getting a job. Americans aren't guaranteed a job, and you're not guaranteed a job. And that's just something that, hey, even if you still get a degree, that's a great thing. You can benefit that back in your home country. Maybe you can come back to America another time, but again, this is just reality. And hopefully you can be creative and stand out and think outside the box and get a job. But it's going to be hard for a lot of people this summer for graduates and internships. And so it's those who are creative, adjustable, have a network with American professionals, and who can stand out are the people that are going to easily get jobs when they're hard to find.
That is so true. And I think it goes back to the book that you recommended, Finding Jobs as International Students
Hmm.
in the US. Actually, I want to quickly show the book that I mentioned.
Yeah,
I
please.
do not want to order it. The Job Hunter Survival Guide: How to Find
Okay.
Hope and Rewarding Work Even When There Are No Jobs.
Okay.
So that was done after that book was made after the financial crisis of 2008. I would say it is very applicable now. So if you guys want to go ahead and revisit that book, strongly recommend that. But I think going back to what you said, Rob, the building
Mhm.
relationships, maintaining relationships throughout your college years is so essential. As an
Mhm.
international student, so I would even go the extra mile and say, if you're being considered against an American, so there's you an international student competing with an American, same
Mhm.
skill level, same position, it is way more likely that they're gonna hire the American just because they don't want to go through the overhead of dealing with your paperwork.
Yeah.
So for that to happen, you need to prove that you're extremely better suited for that role than the whoever is competing with you. So whether
Yeah.
that is through just amazing skills that you have, but like when I say amazing, it just needs to be like extremely outstanding skills, or you might have a connection directly to the company, and someone inside the company might be able to say, yes, that guy is amazing, bring him on.
Mm.
So being aware of that, that like for you're in a disadvantage, it's clear, but like with the disadvantage that you have, how do you play around and how do you find a way to actually land that job that you really want? And
Mhm.
easiest way, I would say, it's not easy, but like I would say easiest way, rather than being the trying to like have the best possible skill, I would say the easiest way, quotes, would be trying to find a connection, maintain a valuable connection with someone within that company that you want to apply for.
Yeah. Yeah. And Shivangi, I appreciate the shout out, saying hi and asking if we're safe and healthy. And yes, thankfully we're just staying home. working from home. Our kids are doing stuff at, their school at home now. So hope you guys are all staying home, praying for you guys every day to be safe and healthy. And so glad that we can help you guys out. And, be sure to stay connected with Steve and Mentor. Follow them. They put out a lot of great content and updates, and they're going to be a great just cheerleader for you guys. So let's see here. What other questions do you guys have? One more thing I want to throw out there too is as we're kind of rethinking, everything's changing. A lot of people are doing personal networking now online. Real networking happens in person, but because of social distancing, that's hard to do these days. I honestly think LinkedIn doesn't count as real networking because it's just all online. It's not real. But people are having now online meetups where you can still do something like this, talk to a person. They're having happy hours, game nights. They're having a lot of the in-person meetups are moving online now. So you can still do real personal meetups, networking, socializing with professionals. Even better, go start something. Start an online meetup or something with the industry or for students and get people connecting. Open up the doors to meet professionals. That's going to be something that's going to really help you out, is you have to make that effort to go find and meet people like this, face to face, even if it's on a screen, because that's where jobs are going to come from, not by messaging online random people as a stranger and begging, because that's not going to work. And it's just going to be even worse now because everyone's going to be begging online, and that's the quickest way to get a rejection.
Can I give a few, I don't know, hacks on that networking online? So
Please.
My situation here was me being super involved with startups, technology, computer scientists. My place to be, my go-to is the Bay Area, right, Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm.
But I found myself in this very odd situation where I was like, okay, damn, I'm in Sioux City, Iowa, trying to build a network in San Francisco. How do I do that? I couldn't do it online just because I didn't know anybody. So I couldn't do it in person just because I wasn't there. So I needed to go through the challenge of building meaningful relationships in the United States with people from the Bay Area, all online. So kind of my rationale and some of the things that I found out is that you being an international student, you have a direct connection, or so when you reach out to somebody, and I'm talking about like a cold contact, right? You're reaching out to somebody for the first time. I think it is important to follow these 3 ideas, I would say. The first one is you need to instantly tell that person why you're reaching out to them. Try to find a common ground with that person. Show that you can add value to them. And I would say a fourth, like be objective and say, hey, I'm reaching out to you because I would like you to help me with this or whatever. So tell them how you found them, tell them how you reached out to them, find a common ground, show that you can add value, and also try to like be objective about the way that you or whatever you're trying to achieve with the connection. And that being said, that second point of finding a common ground, being an international student, you already have a common ground with any international worker in the United States from your nationality. So one of the things that I started doing when I started to try to build my network in the Bay Area was I literally tried to look up every single Brazilian or every single Colombian in the Bay Area that I could know. And I literally sent them like a cold connection on LinkedIn saying, hey, my name is Sam. I found you on LinkedIn because you're a Colombian. I'm also a Colombian, found that common ground. I'm reaching out to you because I am super interested in tech. I want to do a case study about you, whatever my add value was. And I say, hey, I would also like to hop on a call and see if you can give me some advice. So I love to give this example because it's the perfect example of how a virtual connection can turn into a very real and meaningful connection. I got connected to the CEO of this company called KiwiBot. I don't know if anyone has heard of this company. They do delivery with self-driving robots in the Bay Area. So basically, yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. The little cute robots, they drive themselves, they deliver the food.
They have those here at UT Dallas also on the campus. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
Maybe it's the same company or maybe it's a similar company. There are two big companies in the space. But yeah, that's kind of the gist
like
of it.
that, yeah.
Yeah. So this guy is Colombian. The CEO is Colombian. A big portion of the team is Colombian. So I reached out to them. I got connected to them. And I think we actually had a virtual Zoom call where I literally sat down and asked him a bunch of questions. I asked him for feedback. I asked him for advice. And okay, after that, we maintained the relationship. We shared a few links. We shared a few articles. I got connected to this guy, I would say, in the fall of 2017, maybe spring 2018. when it came to the summer of 2018, I had the chance to go for the first time to the Bay Area with the main focus of getting connected with people. So I reached out to this guy again that I had this connection with, and then that I was maintaining my connection with this guy. And I say, hey, I'm going to the Bay Area. I would love to meet up with you, and I would love if you would give me some advice on to where should I stay, what should I eat, whatever. And he said, you know what? Why don't you just come in, stay with me? I'll show you the company. I'll show you the whole team, and I'll show you some of the operations that we had. So I went.
Wow.
I ended up staying with the CEO of this amazing company, great startup. They just raised their Series C or Series B or something like that. And I learned a lot, got connected to a bunch of people, and I started building my connection like that. So it was basically a cold contact made on LinkedIn through that kind of step-by-step process that I showed you, and it turned into a real relationship that gave me an amazing opportunity, you know? So being aware of the power of LinkedIn and being aware of the hacks that you need to know to be able to reach out to new people and do those cold connections and actually be successful with those, that's life-changing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And just messaging strangers on LinkedIn, I say, is not networking, but LinkedIn is great for starting a real relationship that leads to a relationship, or once you've made that real relationship, continuing it. So LinkedIn is the end all be all, but it's a great starting place or follow-up place. But the goal is in person. It's getting that telephone call. It's getting that coffee meeting. And it's all about learning and adding value. And it's not about what you can get for yourself. You know, networking is about what you can give and not what you can get. And I loved how you just kind of, your story is a perfect example of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, we got a question here from Mayuk H. He says, any suggestions for people changing their streams or their degrees, their majors? I'm really interested in applied physics and wish to apply for the same. Right now, my BTech or Bachelor's in Technology is in electrical and electronics engineering. So I'm guessing they're thinking about changing for maybe a master's from electrical engineering to physics or applied physics. What do you think about that?
As far as changing, you got to do what you want to do. But as far as trying to transfer credits, I would think that you are more skilled to talk about that than me. I would assume that most of the credits or most of the classes that you took hopefully would still validate for the new degree that you want to pursue. Mostly if it is still a STEM field. So I would say most of those credits should transfer. But I don't know, specifics of each college might change. I'm unsure. What do you think?
Let us know. Are you going from an undergrad electronics engineering to a master's applied physics, or are you actually transferring in the middle of something? I think that would help us to better answer your question. Going from an undergrad to a master's, you can definitely do something different. You know, my friend Pranshu, who was on a live video recently, he studied hotel management and now he's doing business analytics. You know, that's a huge difference. And so you don't have to just go from computer science to computer science. You can be one thing undergrad and do a master's totally different. As long as you qualified, as long as you get the test scores you need, then go for it, you know, pursue your passion. And it's okay if those change, you know, don't be stuck in something you don't enjoy, but you know, try it out. So it's definitely possible if you're going from undergrad to master's and do something different.
I also want to ask, he said he was interested in engineering right now, or what exactly did he said?
Yeah, it's there in the comments. He's interested in applied physics, and wants to apply for that. But right now his undergrad is in electrical and electronics.
I wouldn't see any issues with that. Yeah, I wouldn't see any issues with that. Yeah, just go for it. Just go for it.
Yeah. In America, it's very possible. What you study here is much more flexible compared to other places in the world where you're kind of locked in or stuck in whatever you study.
That's such an advantage, Rob. So when I graduated from high school in Brazil, I was considering going to college in Brazil, but the issue is, I mean, I graduated and I was 17 years old. And imagine, like, you need to decide when you apply for college and you take like the Brazilian SAT, you need to pick your major when you take the SAT. So imagine you need to get into college and you take that specific exam for that specific career. You get into the career, you get into the first class, and you realize, oh gosh, I hate it, you know. And then you will have to like redo the whole process again. So it's great that you can actually have that exploring flexibility here in the US.
Yeah. Ooh. Here's a fun question. Is this the right time to graduate? No. I remember I was very lucky. So when I graduated in 2008, this was right before the huge economy crash that happened in 2008. And I had six-figure job offers from oil companies. I actually went and did business in India instead. But all my friends, they had awesome job offers. Then a few months later, the economy tanked. The people the next year really struggled to get jobs. My friends, they were all able to get jobs before it happened. And so I think one thing some of my friends have talked about is, should you delay your graduation? Should you study another semester? Whether you're doing an undergrad or master's, it is possible to extend, take a few more classes, do another CPT internship or research project or something. If you have to graduate now, that's just how it is. Some people are going to get jobs, some won't. Some people might have to go over to their home country, but if you're alive and you're healthy, that's what's most important. And so I think, the highest priority is people staying healthy. I know you guys are taking out loans and all those worries and things, and you want to make your families proud, but maybe some of those plans are just going to get pushed back a little bit until, you can get that job, or maybe come back in the future and get that job. But who knows what it's going to be like with people graduating. I'm hoping they're going to make exceptions and extensions, and there's ways you guys can fight for that and push for that with the US government. Right now the government's priority is to keep people healthy. Jobs are going to come next with the economy, and then international students are going to come next. And so, but we're hoping that they'll make exceptions for, the filing periods and all that kind of stuff, and be flexible, because you guys are so important to the US economy. Let's see here. All right, one question is, they're just asking how we're doing and what are we doing in quarantine. Sam, anything fun that you're doing in quarantine, staying at home?
I am working a lot, man. I am working a lot. In the company, school, just getting stuff done, I would say.
Yeah, it's thankfully, because of technology, we can stay so busy. We can still be so productive. It's just up to you to choose to want to do those things, in a different life situation right now.
Use the time wisely, for real. Use the time wisely.
Yeah, so Piyush asked if there'll be any change to the OPT rules. Nothing's official, but there is big groups of people like NAFSA and the President's Alliance. We just saw a big webinar last week that they're really fighting and advocating for international students. And they want those extensions, they want adjustments, they want flexibility. They're fighting, they're pushing. You guys can go and petition those things online. You guys can write to your local government in your states and to the USCIS. They want to hear your voice. So if you guys want help, you need to let them know, and not just be passively waiting, but you guys can be proactive in this and fight for your rights and what's going to help you in these tragic situations. And there's a lot of things you guys can do. So go to the NAFSA website. We'll share that link as well. And there's a lot of great information there. Let's see here. So Mayuki asks, I did some research. The issue is few physics subjects are missing from my curriculum. So will online courses and related internships suffice for that? So I guess he's missing some of the curriculum to go further for physics. So yeah, I think you can fill those things in with online courses, certifications. The best thing to do is, if there's a certain college you're interested in, just talk to them directly and ask them what you need to do, and they'll guide you in that.
Yeah. Talk to them directly. Also, I would say consider some community colleges in the region of you have your college that you want to apply for. There are probably community colleges in the region, or like technical colleges, where you can just go take a quick class that will be validated by that college. But just overall, go talk to that college, and they will probably guide you into what is better, what is kind of the best process to get those classes.
Yeah, you guys are awesome, asking awesome, great questions. We'll do a couple more before we wrap up here. Someone asked, so before we get to Nikita's question, we'll ask Meets. His says, what do you think about fall 20 intake? Is it going to get postponed? So a lot of people are getting admissions for the fall. What do you think about that? And is it going to go normal? Is it going to get postponed? What do you think, Sam?
I don't know. And I don't think anybody knows. It's just so many variables. Like you need to not only consider what's going to be the state of the virus in the United States, you need to consider what's going to be the state of the virus in many countries, what's going to be the state of the virus in China or in India, which are the main intakers of international students to the US. What's going to be the situation with borders, what's going to be the situation with the economy. So surely it's going to be different. We don't know exactly how. I would expect, and this is just guessing at this point, but I would expect numbers to be lower. And I would say that it will be really interesting to see different places coming up and raising above in terms of like numbers of international students. I'm sure. Well, I don't want to say I'm sure, but most likely the distribution of countries might change, and most likely numbers are going to change. But I don't think it's going to get postponed. But it's just like a lot of questions up in the air right now.
Totally. Yeah. Nikita, she said the job market's a little scary right now. We're constantly hearing about layoffs. It'll be nice to know how to cope with these situations, especially for those planning on graduating this summer. I agree with you. It is scary. You know, we talked about this a little bit before. There's just a lot of unknown. And this is what the whole world is facing, you know, not just you as an individual. I think trying to stay positive as you can. Again, in the meantime, build your credentials, find ways to stand out, build your network, and do everything you can in this slow time to give you as much advantage as possible. Because there are companies that are hiring, you know, just not everything's going to go away. And so, yeah, fight as hard as you can to make yourself, you know, marketable in what companies are hiring right now here in America.
I would say there's also another side to that. Like I agree 100% to what you said with what you said, but I would also like take the other side of it, as in it is okay to be like sad and upset and like pissed about it. Like the situation sucks, you know. Like nobody likes this. This is not a good situation whatsoever. Nobody would like to be graduating in this situation. And indeed, I think it is important for you to face the reality that it is very likely that many international students who are graduating this summer might not find jobs. And it is also important to face the reality that the government may not change the OPT rules, even though you would expect them to do. And I hope they do. But like, it is important to face the reality that like everything might go to hell, you know, and that's okay. Like things go to hell every once in a while. And if they do, then like, okay, we just figure it out after they go to hell. But it's important. I think it is, I think more than finding a way to cope with it, of course, you need to do the best you can to like be in the best possible position for when that time comes. But I think it is important to also be prepared for the downfall. And if you're prepared for the downfall is not going to get you that hard if it gets you. But of course, I do.
Yeah, I think having high hopes but low expectations.
Exactly.
And it's going to be probably somewhere in the middle.
Exactly.
But there's so many people out there trying to help you guys. You know, you don't have to feel alone. Reach out to your friends, your family, us at Chine Coaching, and, you know, Sam and his guys at Stephen Mentor. And also just constantly reach out to your resources at the college. You know, the international student offices, the career services, you know, there's health and counseling centers, you know, there's people to talk to. You know, even though you can't meet them in face, they're doing all these online meetings and they want to fight for you. So ask for help. I think when people feel panicked, they forget to ask for help, but that's the best thing to do is communicate, ask for help. There are people out there to guide you. There are people that can get you answers, or figure out, oh, this is a problem. Let's go find that answer together. And so don't be afraid to ask for help. And there's going to be people that are going to help you in these really hard times. And we want to help too. So don't be afraid to ask me or Sam and the guys at Stephen Mentor.
Absolutely. Reach out to people.
Yeah, Sam, let's wrap this up. Any final thought you want to leave with our friends that have been hanging out with us?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, thank you, Rob, for having us here. Really fun talking to you. Really fun talking to you guys as well. I just want to one more time endorse the work that you do. It is really helpful. I've watched personally some of your videos. I've applied some of the things that you share in my personal life. So I appreciate all the work that you do. Second of all, thank you guys for joining us for the live stream. Really fun talking to you guys, answering your questions, interacting with you guys. And finally, I would say, stay strong. Stay strong and stay united. Look after your loved ones. And we, as a community of international students, we're going to get through this. We are going to get through this. And when we do, we're going to be so much stronger. I like closing my live streams on COVID-19 by saying, if you as an international student go through this, go through a pandemic, go through an economic crisis, and you get out of it well, there's literally nothing you cannot do. So stay strong. We're going to get through this. And once we do, you're going to see that there's absolutely nothing that's going to hold us back. So stay strong, support each other. And when I say support each other, support your international student friends that are also struggling with this. We got to get united during this time and support each other and stay strong.
Yeah, no, that's great. Sam, thanks so much. This has been really fun. Been loving just to collaborate with you guys. I'll have links in the description for everything we mentioned and also for the Adopt an International Student program that Stephen Mentor is doing. So if you guys need help with anything, sign up for that. They're going to get you partnered with people that can help you guys out. Yeah, it's a community. It's a network of everyone coming together. It's, we're going to be united 6 feet away from each other, to get through all this.
Yep. Yep.
So keep it up, guys, and we'll be in touch soon. All right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time at Shine Coaching.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.